Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Masten. I'm the Library Director at the Lucy Robbins Wells Library, and this is our second virtual Redefined Reads. Today we're going to be making book trinket boxes, and because the library building is still closed, we're going to be offering grab-and-go kits where we'll give you all the supplies you need to make your own book trinket box. All you have to do is call the library at 860-665-8700 and ask to reserve one. We'll give them out as long as the supplies last. When you do it, if you want to give me your top two favorite colors, I'll try to match a book cover that is with a color that you like, or if you want me to surprise you, just say surprise me and I'll put a kit together for you that might be kind of fun. So what we're going to do, this is what you need to do to make your book trinket box. You need a book. You're going to need painter sticks, which you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot, and they come in a couple different widths. So I'll tell you how you know which one to use for yours. Wood glue, preferably the clear, the kind that dries clear. You need a box cutter, scissors, pencils, Q-tips or a paintbrush. And then these are kind of optional ribbon, buttons, or little things you can do to decorate your book at the end. And even scrapbooking paper. If the inside cover of your book is something wrong with it or you want to jazz it up, you can put scrapbook paper, just cut it down to size and glue it into the inside covers. You can also, if you like, go to your computer and find a background you like, print it out and use that instead of the scrapbooking paper. And you're going to need painter's tape or masking tape. So the first thing you want to do is kind of figure out what size stick you need. And the way you figure that out is you see the width of the book here, and you take your stick and you measure. And this book would take the thinner of the two sticks, but there are other books like that have more pages and stuff, and you just have to measure your stick against that to see what size you need. And then what you're going to be doing now is cutting the sticks down to size to create a three-sided box. Once you've picked out your book, the first thing you have to do is gut it. And when you pick a book, you want to make sure that the spine is kind of broken, that it's separated from the pages, because otherwise it's really difficult to cut. And you end up cutting through sometimes the spine itself, and then you've ruined your book. So all you have to do here is you put your finger in here. You want to be careful not to cut yourself. And you start cutting down very carefully all the way till you get down to the bottom, and you're separating the pages from the cover. And you do that on both sides. So I'm going to just cut this down so you can see what your final cover is going to look like. And this is what you have left. And then you can put these aside. These are the pages. You don't really need to use them anymore, but you can use them when you start your gluing process. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to measure your sticks. You're going to need three sticks or three sides cut, and you want to have the same two sides on the shorter side of the book, and then the length of the book you're going to have one size. So when you measure, you take your stick and you just measure across, and you figure out, you want to kind of make sure you do it not quite to the edge, but right about an eighth of an inch from the edge, and you measure that, and we're going to cut two sticks the same size of that length. And then you're going to take another stick and you're going to measure the length here, and you're going to do the same thing, kind of leave a quarter of an inch on each side. So but when you're done, you're going to have three sticks, two of the same size and one longer. You do need to use a saw to cut the sticks, but these are pretty easy to cut because the wood is kind of thin. And then you want to sand the edges if they're rough at all. The other thing you could do at this point too is, before you start the gluing process to create your three-sided box, you can paint them if you want to add some more color to your box. You do not have to. If you like the natural color, then you can go with that. But if you want to paint them, you can do it now, or you can do it after you glue it. It's really, your preference on that. And what you have to do now is glue your sticks. And I'm giving you Q-tips, so you can use these or you can use a brush if you're more comfortable. And I found that you can use the soft side of the Q-tip, or if you cut it in half, I found it actually was easier to use the hard part of this Q-tip to glue. And what you're going to do now is you're going to take the glue and you're going to just put a generous amount of glue here, and you're going to glue this edge and you just have to kind of pretend that this is actually a measured piece, and you're going to start creating your box. And what I would do is I would have the ones that are the same size, you want to glue on either side of the longer piece. And the thing I found with wood glue is that you have to hold it for a little bit so it starts to stick, because I was having a really hard time gluing it first, but if I held it, it was sometimes up to 5 minutes, just to let it catch and really start sticking. And then what I did is once it started to really stick, I took the tape, and I actually ended up taping it to the surface that I was pushing, gluing it on. This book here is actually a great surface if you want to do that. It gives you, you can start your gluing process here and then just tape it here. And then all you want to do is let it sit till it dries. And this is kind of one that I've already started where I'm letting it dry. They say for the glue that you want to have about 15 minutes for it to dry, but you really want to have it dry a lot longer, because it takes a while for this thing to really stick and hold on. Once you have glued this and everything is dry, what you're going to do now is you are going to glue it to the book itself. This is where you can start to paint it now, or if you've already painted it, it's glued and it's painted and it's ready to go. One of the things that I did also do with some of my book projects here was I used ribbon if I wanted to kind of decorate the box a little more, because this is only a 3-sided box. So what you're going to see is this inside the box, and it's going to close and look like that. But if I want to kind of add a little bit more color, I can cut ribbon, and what you do is cut it all the way around the book. And then once you cut it, you actually take that piece you cut and you glue it onto the wood here before you actually glue this down to the book cover. You glue it all the way around, and that kind of gives it a nice little color. And then the next thing you would do then is take this 3-sided box, and now we're going to glue it to the actual bottom cover of the book. So here's the top cover. I'm actually going to be gluing it down right to the bottom here, and I'm going to use my wood glue as well. This is where you might want to use the soft side of the Q-tip when you're gluing, and you're basically just going to be gluing along the edge like this, all 3 sides. And then once you're done gluing, you place it into the book cover. The big thing that you want to do here is you want it to go back far enough that when you close the book, it's resting right against the spine here. Because not only are you going to be gluing it here on the bottom of this box, you're actually going to be gluing these edges here too, so they can catch the spine. And that way when you open it, you have a firm box. And the one thing I would recommend, this is one I'd already started as well, is once you start gluing and you have it glued on all 3 sides and you have the back 2 pieces that are going to stick to the spine glued, take a couple elastics after you've held it against the spine for a while, because that's another thing. When you glue the 2 pieces that touch the spine, you got to hold them in for a little bit. But then once they've set as well, take an elastic and just let it sit. And let it sit long enough that the glue dries. It actually dries quicker on the cover of the book than when you're putting the wood pieces together. And then when everything is dry, what you end up having is a trinket box. Now, the other thing you can do as well, and this is probably your last step, is I already added the ribbon, and I did that before I glued it, but in the inside cover, if you don't like what it looks like, that scrapbooking paper I was talking about, before you glue everything on, just cut it out and glue it down. So it kind of makes it look nicer inside. But the last thing you can do if you want is like add a button or something to give it a little bit something else. And I always find if you use a little button and then a bigger button, it gives it a little height and it's a little more interesting. So that's completely up to you. So this is what your final product would look like. It makes a great gift for someone that you want to do something special for. I'm making one for my husband for Father's Day because he has all this junk that he throws on his nightstand, and I thought this would be a great way for him to put some of those items in a box so he knows where they are. It's also a great gift for yourself if you'd like. And as I was saying before, that because the library is closed, we are putting together these grab-and-go kits, and I just wanted to tell you what you're getting inside your kit. You're actually getting a book cover, you're getting the 3 pieces of wood, And I've actually painted the wood to kind of match the colors the way the ones that the best color I thought to go with it. And then you're getting your own little kit, and it's going to include the ribbon, some buttons or something to decorate it at the end, Q-tips, and your actual wood glue. So you should have everything you need, plus there'll be written instructions inside your kit as well. So I hope that you have fun doing this. I had a really good time doing it. The only thing it took me a while to learn was the wood glue. So the big thing is remember to let it sit for a little bit before you tape it, to let it dry, or before you, when you glue it to the book itself. So I hope you have fun doing it, and be sure to call us if you'd like a kit, and we'll supply them as long as we can do that. So thank you very much.